Welcome, Ralph. There's lots of conversation about RPA in the security industry. And interestingly, you yourself just moved into a new information security role with a very well-known HFS. I think people would have known you for RPA, but what they haven't realized is you've been in information and data security for many years. Tell us a little bit about the role and tell us a little bit about what you're doing, sir.
Probably everyone know me about my RPA posting, LinkedIn, with my bit of humor. But my background and my expertise in really on the IT security and governance, having started my career in Big Four, in the audit side, doing a lot of IT audits, and then slowly but surely moving to the advisory side, helping organization define their security framework, transform the security framework, but always with the usage of emerging tech, and automation was playing a big role in this. So I'm by expertise and competence a security expert, but automation has always been such a great enablers throughout my projects and the delivery of big programs. So that's why really I've become very much interested and involved in automation.
Well, here, let's dig into your past just a little bit, if you don't mind. A lot of people rush to put RPA in, but I suspect they didn't do it very securely. So I think you could be very busy in your new role. Is that a fair statement? Or what would you argue?
Absolutely fair. And to be honest, I've been probably one, I will tell you it's fair because I've experienced that. Yeah? So it's first-hand feedback that I'm giving you. I would say the way RPA has been positioned has been, it's an easy tool. The first focus was it doesn't have to involve too much IT, but now I think people have learned that that's absolutely wrong. But the initial hype was something you can deploy quite easily, quite cheap. It's an overarching technology that sits above your core system, so no worries about security. So I discovered this maybe the hard way, but it took us a lot of time to ensure that the platform itself is secure. And from a procedure perspective and processes, how you grant access to a bot account, what type of privileges you can provide, how you monitor critical bots. And this was part, obviously, of a security approach we adopted, but it took us time and a lot of effort compared to actually bringing some good developer, build a bot, and then put it in production. Yes, but we realized that it has to be very secure, the environment, so that you can start accelerating your deployments. And then, honestly, the biggest wake-up call was around our compliance function, auditors. And they start looking at the RPA platform, and they quickly realized that some fundamental things were actually missing. And we had to do a lot of work after the deployment to bring back this platform up to date. So I'm talking about probably most organizations have gone through this or will go through that. So it's way better to be ready rather to get this kind of surprises where actually you need to stop your RPA initiative to get back in control rather than being able to scale. And that from a stakeholder management, the impact is huge. The business user waiting for benefit realization, but you're pretty much stopping the initiative to get back IT to be ready so that people can place reliance on the platform and processes.
What do you need to do then to make RPA secure? So we're not just talking about privilege access management.
Absolutely.
We're talking about developing secure code and a whole host of other things, sure.
Absolutely. So it's not only about access, but access play a big role. So I would start really by having clear access management policies on the target system. So it doesn't have to be like you need to redo all your access management processes in Workday, in SAP, in every backend system, but just tailor them. Just ensure that they're aligned with your RPA principle, and then the security team downstream are able to provision, manage bot accounts in alignment with your corporate RPA policy. Privilege access, that's even more important within the RPA environment. From a joiner, mover, lever. I mean, we all say that RPA bots are like human. Well, we should probably treat them like human. So when a process is decommissioned, you don't use anymore a bot. certainly that bot needs to be decommissioned, locked, deleted from the backend system. Change management. I mean, that's probably the biggest area here where promoting code is like maybe a developer activity, where I've seen in many cases where a developer can actually promote and transport their code up to production with very little quality assurance or governance. You need to ensure that your code is super well managed. I mean, your code is the core of everything. It drives everything that the bot can do. Even if they have wide access, ultimately the code will govern what the user is going to be doing in the backend system. So treating your code as probably your most critical asset is paramount. And last but not least, I would say the monitoring. So you might have a lot of bots. You're not going to apply the same monitoring approach to each and every bot. So you need to have a risk-based approach around what bots are the most critical, what's actually the risk, yeah, of a bot failure. And based on that risk, you start tailoring your monitoring approach. Make sure to monitor what matters.
You mentioned a moment ago at the start of the conversation that you're going to look at more data security and cloud and everything. I think the last 12 months have taught us that the threat landscape has really enlarged because everybody is now moving to cloud. So I will suggest you'll be a very busy part of the HFS consultancy team. How can RPA and IA actually positively impact organization security stances? Because I'm assuming that RPA and IA can work at the speed of digital and organizations are getting attacked digitally. Or do RPA and IA actually have any supportive role at all in data and information management and protection?
So I would say, I would probably start with really the positive impact that intelligent automation is going to have on the cybersecurity function. Yeah, and I think it's quite huge. If you take really probably one of the top response when you survey cybersecurity function, why they're not actually on top of everything, why they are not effective, why they don't look forward. The usual response is because the compliance burden is killing us. They spend so much time meeting compliance requirements, which ultimately are kind of checkbox point in time exercises, that they forgot to focus on what matters most, and they forgot actually to maybe upskill themselves and get much more into areas where they need to go deeper, but they don't have time. And I think the intelligent automation will help them drastically overcome this compliance burden that they are actually suffering quite a lot. Yeah. So if you take robotic process automation, I mean, they're going to be using that as a way of running rule-based, repetitive testing activities that they need to run on a daily, weekly, monthly basis that are mandated by the organization. It's rule-based by nature. That's where RPA will be able to go, extract a log file, cross-check that log file with some policies, and then send an alert if something is wrong. Yeah, but it's just about running control activities that are not really events as such, but purely testing activities step by step, following a script, and store a bunch of evidence so that your risk and compliance function can audit them at certain point in time and rely on the effectiveness of those controls. And all about, if you start talking the broader intelligent automation and the hyper automation, yeah, I love that word, yeah. But if you start talking about process mining, task mining, I mean, that's a huge area or sources of information for cybersecurity function to detect non-compliance pattern, cross-check those patterns with established policies. So they're going to be able to use those process mining, task mining to see where process deviations happen. And machine learning, I'm not going to bring that area here, but clearly machine learning is going to help detect cyber risk, new emerging risk on the back of analysis of internal, external data, context, yeah, and try to understand if suddenly there is somehow an emerging risk that is showing up in a specific area, function, business unit, and on the back of that, start mitigating that risk in an effective and timely manner. So you have solutions out there that manage and orchestrate and detect thousands and thousands of events. But the problem is that how you correlate intelligently those events. And many vendors have already applying machine learning. It's not something new to them, but really how to detect, correlate those events so that you can provide a much more targeted and accurate response to a certain event or threat before it becomes an incident. And last but not least, smart workflows. I will put smart workflows within intelligent automation, because clearly what's missing sometimes, it's not the detection, the analysis, the response, it's the orchestration about those areas. So I think smart workflows, understanding when a user sits, context-based analysis, being able to reroute workflows in a timely manner, so that ultimately a security operations center can receive alerts, can respond to alerts, reach out to a target audience in a way more efficient way, thanks to those smart workflow that can reroute alerts and escalation to the right people within the organization. And that's also, I think, around the orchestration communication piece. Intelligent automation is going to be a big benefit for the function as a whole.
Apart from seeing much needed comedy graphics and GIFs coming out of you every day, where do you find them? What does the future hold, or the near future hold for you? The next couple of months and the next couple of years? What does that look like?
So for me, for now is really preparing, which I'm almost there, but finalizing my research agenda. And my research agenda is going to be focus on 5 topics, which for me are going to be topic of research for the next 2 years at least. Yeah, it's not going to change in the middle. But again, as I said, it's going to be a cybersecurity function that is cloud focused. So a lot of research on security on the cloud. A cybersecurity function that is human centered. Yeah? Understand how the existing cybersecurity skill shortage is going to change. How to build a cybersecurity conscious culture. So I think the human element, yeah, I love robots, I love automation, but the human element in cybersecurity is huge, yeah, and 95% of incidents you have out there are caused by human error. That tells you a lot. As I said initially, intelligence led, how to use intelligent automation to start creating intelligence led security operations and services. Yeah. Not only talking about the enterprise, but also service providers, how they're going to start using intelligence to ensure that their managed security services are not anymore transactional by nature, but bringing enough insight for organization to be very responsive. Yeah. What's great in the cybersecurity world is that you have so many initiatives, so many enterprises are buying tons of tech out there and deploy quickly the tech, with suddenly you realize that the technology is in production. But then when you start measuring the effectiveness of that technology and the effectiveness around how people use that technology, that's where you have, or I'm going to have probably a lot of surprises, understanding that the real effectiveness of such usage and how you link back actually the effectiveness back to business outcome, yeah, by deploying or by running that such a big security initiative, and future looking, because it's going to be aligned to the one office organization. I'm sure that you know what is it, but probably others don't really know. But it's going to be aligned to really the overall one office framework, looking at major innovation that will impact cybersecurity. And that's really going to be my 5 key topics of research. But to get really that right, I'm going to be starting doing a lot of surveys. But I'm going to start really being able to formulate and provide insights on the back of relevant data points that I need to have. So that's going to be right now my goal till the end of the year, get as much as possible insight so that I can start formulating my point of view and my strategy and my research in 2022.
You're not going to be bored by the signs of things.
Oh no! Oh no!
Fantastic. Well, look, Ralph, I wish you every success in your new role. I have to say, I was desperately excited and desperately pleased to see someone like yourself, who's an expert in this space, coming in and lending a gravitas, and definitely talking about an area that needs discussed. Because as we mentioned earlier on in our talk, too many people threw a robot and automation in on a desktop and have built upon that and built upon that and built upon that. And security has been the very least of the concerns. Whereas, as you mentioned, as we move into a digital age, particularly where we're moving into cloud and things become a little bit more open, it should be the start of their thought processes. So your research will be gladly accepted and eagerly awaited for in the coming months. Thank you, sir.
I hope so. Thanks, Kieran.